We're good. I think we are live. Hi, I'm Allie Weiner, at the JCC, known as Mora Allie. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. We have Rebbitzin Hannah Andrews with us, and we are going to discuss the topic of how to make the high holidays special when you are stuck at home. So, Hannah, or Rebbitzin Hannah, how do you, we want to take a minute to talk about yourself and where you are and how this topic relates to you.
Okay. So I live in Allentown, Pennsylvania. My husband is the rabbi at Congregation Sons of Israel here in Allentown, which is an Orthodox congregation. And I take great pride in working with him as a rebbitzin. I try to be very active in the synagogue activities and programs. In addition, I'm a certified Judaics teacher, and I think I've been teaching since I was 8, but it could be I was 9. And teaching and being involved in community affairs is something that I learned growing up in my own home, and something that I try to inculcate into our home as well. Allie, I have to tell you, I was a little upset with the title, which was being stuck at home for the holidays, because I was thinking that this being at home for the holidays is really a great opportunity on many levels. And some of the ideas that I'm going to share are my own ideas or things that I've heard over the years, things that I've tried. And some of these ideas come from Rabbi Malcolm Herman, who runs Seed UK, which is a family educational program based out of Manchester and London. And he has a video talking about the same topic, where he mentions that shul is nice, but the home is where the heart of Judaism is. Home is where all the traditions are laid, where all the memories are made, and being at home is really an opportunity for us to reconnect and to become closer as a family, and to appreciate what it means to have our own traditions in our own families. And I was also thinking it kind of gives us an opportunity to, quote, turn off the noise, right? Some of us really like going to shul and being involved in community events. And some of us have children who don't especially enjoy that and would rather not have to wear shoes that are uncomfortable because they're nicer ones, and would rather not have to wear what we think the society expects of our children to wear to synagogue. And it's an opportunity for us to just say, what is important for my family? What are our values, and what are we trying to communicate to our children, which is separate from what we think society's expectations are. And I just think I heard this from another educator. So just turn off the noise and not worry about what's going on around us, and just really focus on what are the needs of my child or my children. And that's something that being home with them, we have no choice but to focus on that. And I think that's really important for children of all ages.
I couldn't agree with you more. I happen to think that this time at home, whether it be for the holidays or whether it be for all the time that we were home before this, that it's a real opportunity to be with our children and our families, our spouses, and really get to know each other on a deeper level. In shul, it's great that you get to hear the Torah and you get to be around everybody and be so happy and joyful. But at the same time, Rosh Hashanah is also about praying to God, and being home, you have that chance of teaching your children that praying to God doesn't necessarily mean opening up a book and reading a language that you may not understand, but also, talking, using your own voice, whether it be a 4-year-old's voice or a 15-year-old's voice, to have that opportunity to say what comes from the heart, when in shul, sometimes you're kind of just going with the flow and not get as much of an opportunity. So I definitely agree that there's a lot of beauty of being home, and not that you're stuck at home, but that you're experiencing Rosh Hashanah from home.
Yes, definitely. Also, I wanted to add as kids grow up, or when adult children get together and reminisce about their childhood, right? They'll very often, the phrase you'll hear is, remember that we always did X, Y, and Z, right? And the funny thing is, when children say that, or even when adults say that about their childhood, that usually means something they may have done maybe twice or three times, not even necessarily something that they always did. But the memories of something that is so prominent in their minds is something that was at home. It's something that was with their family. Usually the memories, that the holiday memories, are not necessarily going to show and being one of 1,000 people. It's, although that might be, but the memory of what were the special foods? Did I help make the dessert? I got, who made the centerpieces, and I really just keep coming back to what do we want the kids to say? Remember, we always did X, right? Fill in the blank, whatever it is in your family. Everybody, some of our answers are going to be similar because we're all celebrating the same holidays, but at the same time, we all experience them in a different way.
That's beautiful. Yes, and it actually kind of leads me into one of our questions is, how can you get children, both younger and older, involved in the Rosh Hashanah Seder, the order or the festivities, whether it be at night when you bring out the apples and honey and the pomegranate, or during the day when you would have been in synagogue?
So I think that it's really important to make these special days special, and for the children to feel and be involved, that this is not just a regular, not even just even regular Shabbat, but definitely not a regular Saturday, but that this upcoming first 2 days of Tishrei, the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah, on this coming Shabbat and Sunday, they feel special, they feel different. It's so easy to just say, oh, everybody just stay in your pajamas. But if we make a point of wearing special clothes at least till after lunch, and we have festive foods and festive tableware, we involve the kids in the prep. I made a mistake. I'm going to be very honest. I made a big mistake that I learned from on Passover. My 13-year-old and my 9-year-old got very into making the salad every day for our lunch, for our daytime meal. And it was their idea. They came to me, they would come to me just about every day that we were having a big meal together. And they would say, can we make the salad? Can we make the salad? And I would say, great, that's wonderful. Here, this is what you can use. Enjoy, thank you. Well, all it took was for me to go over to them before one meal and say, hey guys, do you want to make the salad? And guess what? It was no longer a cool, fun idea. So I think that especially as our children get older, we also have to learn to let go and meet them where they are, and appreciate what they want to do, and realize that we can't necessarily impose our own agendas on them, because that's what happens when they get older. But definitely, however they want to be involved, I think we should encourage that, and encourage that. We're all a family. We all help each other. I think that praying together, like Ali said, is really important. There's so many important themes of the day, of forgiveness, of new year, new start, wanting to become better, wanting to become more advanced in who we are on many levels. And we say in education, you only really understand something if you can explain it to a 5-year-old. If you can only use highfalutin, fancy language that you took out of your PhD dissertation, it's questionable if you really understand, what your subject matter is. But if you can say it succinctly in 2 sentences to a 5-year-old, you have a really good grasp on the material. And I think that if we put in effort beforehand, and we think about what is it that we want our children to come away with, and what do we want ourselves to come away with, and that's going to be what we focus on with our children. One of my most meaningful Rosh Hashanahs that I've had since I've had children is when I had one. I think I had a 1.5-year-old at the time. I had one child. This one girl who's now 13, and I was home with her. I was not in synagogue that year. It wasn't a place where you could bring small children, and I was conflicted about being home with her, shall we say. On the one hand, I was very grateful to have a child to look after and spend time with. But on the other hand, I'm a real shul goer, and I always grew up going to shul ever since I was a little kid. I remember always sitting in shul, and it was hard for me, but it really ended up turning into one of my most meaningful high holiday experiences. I would daven a little bit, I would pray, I would tell her what I was saying, and we would say some things together, right? Even young children can be taught, Shema, they can say Moza Ani, they can say thank you for waking up in the morning. They can learn the idea of gratitude, of saying thank you. And we also have please kinds of prayers that we say. So how we approach it and our attitude definitely affects the tone that we set for the children as well.
That line that you said about, if we could say it like that a 5-year-old could understand, can really, really sets home with me, because I mean, my kid, he may no longer be 5, he's 6 now, but it's still, he's still that young little kid. And, I've got another little one at home, and to be able to make Rosh Hashanah on the level of a 5 or a 6-year-old is really, it's a real eye opener, I think, that we always have to think these complex things, like you were saying, and reading the words in a complex language or at a higher level, but to bring it down to a level that our children, even if our children are older, can understand is it's a great idea, great concept, and I don't think you can go wrong with that at all. I think another way that, like, in our home, I know my son is already ready for Rosh Hashanah. His idea is that he's already picked out his clothing for Rosh Hashanah. He's wearing it, and he's picked out fancy clothing for the rest of the week leading up to, including Rosh Hashanah, sometimes not wanting to take it off in between. But he is psyched for the holiday. And as much as I, as the parent, want to be like, you have soccer today, you shouldn't really be running around in white pants to play soccer, I feel like I need to embrace it and encourage it, because that's how he sees Rosh Hashanah. He sees it as this pure holy day, and he wants to get all excited for it as of now, and he wants to make it so important, even the days leading up to Rosh Hashanah. So prepping for Rosh Hashanah and the Rosh Hashanah order and the Rosh Hashanah festivities doesn't necessarily have to start Friday night. I'm all about it starting now. I'm all about having Rosh Hashanah music playing in the background, apples and honey every opportunity you can from now till Rosh Hashanah, including Rosh Hashanah, all month long. I love the idea that a lot of places are sending packages with activities that you can do as a family. One thing that I think is a great way to incorporate your family is to doing something all together, the whole family, no matter how old they are. My kids are 4 or 5 years apart, and I still think that there are things that we can do, as messy as it gets, as clean as we want it to be, but we can all do together. And festivities are going to be messy, and I've accepted that our table will probably be covered in honey and pomegranate stains and all sorts of funky fruit prints all over our table. And I think that it's just, go with how the kids feel. Well, I've got another question for you, and
Okay.
that is, what are some ways to engage kids if you cannot attend a service, more of a religious or a spiritual way?
So we said some of them, of making a point that we pray together, and discuss things as a family. Um, I think you also really touched on this, Ali, of it's right. So that the end result is if we put thought into it at the beginning, and we're already only a couple days away. but we still have time to make some really concrete, hands-on projects with our children, right? We can take a globe and we can make it dirty, and we can show that when we mess up and, not doing the right thing, this is what it looks like. But look, we can wash it off. We can make it clean again. We can, and that wasn't my idea. That came from Rabbi Herman. We can so we can talk about the themes of the day, right? We can take a hanger with two plastic cups attached, and we can put some marbles in every time, right? To show these are all the mitzvot, these are all the good things we've done. And then we just put in a couple of what we call in school oopses, when we mess up, when we don't like the way we've behaved. And that's really a way of concretizing for the children some abstract ideas that we might not, which we as adults feel a little uncomfortable with, because we don't really think of, God sitting on the chair and right with a piggy bank. And we understand that that it's much more, what's the word I'm trying to think of? It's not as simple as that, but it's a way that children can relate to the concepts, and we can do that in advance. And in terms of religious things, I think, honestly, Ali, you might not like this, I would say don't shove it down their throats. And I would really say, see where they're holding. Yes, come up with some ideas, but also just, kids are really bright. Kids, we should give them more credit than we do. They pick up on a lot of things. Some things, you have to tell them exactly. You have to spell out for them. But some things, just seeing a relaxed parent instead of running, cooking and cleaning up till the minute before we light candles and yelling at everybody. So can't you see this house is a disaster? We all have to get going here, right? I think in some ways just trying to say, and believe me, I'm talking to myself as much as I'm talking to everybody else, but about remembering this is about, we want the kids to still want to do this in 20 years, and don't shove it down their throats. They'll pick up on it. If they see a happy family who calls their relatives and wishes them a happy new year, who is pleasant to the people around, who are pleasant to the people around them, who are not stressed, who are enjoying every last bit. And if the kids are helping peel vegetables and at least half the peels go on the floor, right? We just have to remember it takes 2 seconds to clean it up at the end. Who really cares? They're helping, they're involved. They're going to remember that we peeled carrots and we ate carrots and all the other special foods that we have for over Rosh Hashanah. And I think that having structure but also being flexible is important, right? We want to have an idea of, okay, we're going to try to get everybody out of bed by a certain time. I know with younger children, they get you out of bed, but with older children, right, we spend half our day getting them to go to sleep and the other half of our day getting them up for school. Or just getting up in the morning. So I really think having a structure, having some idea, this is how the day is going to look, but also realizing we're just going to have to roll with it. It's a certain element is just not in our control. And this is another thought I had, which is a spiritual thought for ourselves, mostly, and not for our children as much. But, it's been a really long 7 months. I think it's 7 months, right? Since March, is it only 6 months? Whatever it's been, it's felt like an eternity. And unfortunately, there are some of us who have either been sick or have had relatives who have been sick, or we know people who have passed, and it's not a joke, right? There's a reason that we're home. There's a reason that we're doing this and we're going through this. And that's also obviously in the backs of our minds as well. That, when we pray this year for a healthy year, we really know what we're asking for. And one thing I think is really challenging now is to say, this is a new day. This is just Rosh Hashanah. This is not the culmination of every aggravation and every time my child didn't listen to me, or my child made a mess, or this is not the cumulative excuse me, this is not the culmination of every day since March. This is only Rosh Hashanah. Let's focus on these days. Let's be positive and constructive and happy for these 2 days and not worry about yesterday and not worry about tomorrow. And I think that that will also help us be in a good place and in a proper frame of mind for creating positive experiences for our children on Rosh Hashanah and on Yom Kippur.
Beautiful. I think that's great. And I would even add to it. I I mean, I know your kids are a little older than my kids, so for us, really kind of praying for us is like opening up books and whether it be Rosh Hashanah books or books that have deeper meaning to it. When you've got little kids, there are so many great books out there that could bring meaning for your children that we might not be able to connect with on their level. I know PJ Library has a ton of resources for books on Rosh Hashanah, for Yom Kippur, and Carbon has stuff out there. And I know if you're looking for books or for resources, there's a ton online now, especially now. Some even virtual where it reads the stories to you if you want your kids to be doing things before Rosh Hashanah while you're trying to prep and get ready. I personally, I love doing things in song. So for me with my kids, I'll sit down and I'll do our regular morning prayers, but I'll be extra enthusiastic. I'll let them sing and dance along to it and kind of go all out, give their own interpretation to it. Something that I learned a little while back, which was really cool, I think I actually learned it at a PJL Library conference, was take where you can take a prayer like Shema and kind of dissect the words and understand the meanings behind the words. And if you just the Shema alone only has a couple of words and you can just sit there for a really long time with your kids, you'd be amazed how they can come up with different words or different meanings for the words that are in a siddur or a machzor, and make it home for them. And even something like Shema, which we typically say multiple times a day, they can then relate to it not just on the holidays, but also when they wake up in the morning or when they say it before going to bed. And it just has so much more meaning towards it. I know that I've been wanting to do things like this with my kids for a while, but we've been so busy with everyday life and now school and daycare and things that are just keeping our life so busy. But I feel like this is an opportunity for me to get in and learn something new with my kids and be part of that learning process alongside them, and allowing my kids to just open up. My daughter's really interested in Jewish books. I don't think she understands anything that she's opening up right now, because sometimes she's taking out the most complex books in different languages, but she opens it up and she pretends to read. And I think it's the sweetest thing that she looks at it and gives it to me, and I can make meaning of something that she doesn't really understand what's in front of her. But going with whatever she has interest in. Your kids might pick up books that you haven't seen in years, and it's an opportunity to dive back in and discover new things with them. So some other maybe you have some other ideas for activities or things you could do both at home and maybe out in nature over the next couple of days. I know Rosh Hashanah is typically a day that we're walking around places, but there's so much nature around us. This might be a time to go and explore that nature. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's funny, one of the customary things that we do on Rosh Hashanah is we go down to a river, which I think can be done in a fairly socially distanced way. We're not, the custom of saying Tashlich is really not meant to be something that you do as a big group. It's really a private thing. And this might be the year to embrace that and find just a quiet place at the water or out in nature. And just for some self-introspection. I think just the idea of renewal is something that we see in nature that children can understand, right? We can look at different colored leaves, and especially this time of year when the leaves are starting to change and some are still green, some are colorful, some have fallen off the tree, some are still on the tree. and we can, and of course, the Torah is compared to a tree as well, which is a nice metaphor, right? We want to cling to the tree. We want to stay green. We want to stay attached. We don't want to be the ones that fall off. We want to stay, true to our tradition. I think that is even um, a metaphor that young children understand very well. Right? They see the withering leaves. They see that when they get shriveled. That's something that is real to them, and it's something that they can then relate for themselves. Um, and I think and in general, I think there's something really powerful just to spending time outside as a family. It's something that I think many of us wish we did more of, and I think um, and I think that it's a really nice opportunity to um, it's a really nice opportunity to to just to connect with each other and ask the children, what colors do you see, what do you notice, what's interesting to you. And I think the main thing is really, are we listening to our children? Are we giving them time? Are we not imposing our own agendas on them too much, and and giving them that opportunity to tell us what's important to them. And I think that is also something that's really important, especially for children of all ages, but especially as children grow older, get bigger, they want to know that we value their opinion, and we're not only just talking at them, but are we listening to them also? And that's something that happens in nature. It helps bring that out.
I love that. Um, at the JCC, I teach the children that I really focus with Rosh Hashanah that it's the birthday of the world. And I think it ties perfectly into nature, allowing kids to really understand what Rosh Hashanah is on a different level, not just the new year, it's coming again and coming again, but giving it a little bit more an understanding to themselves. They have a birthday, they get a year older. The world has a birthday. Yes, it's also getting a year older. But how do we, just like we need to take care of ourselves, we also need to take care of the world. And we teach children that there are many ways to take care of the world. We take care of the physical world, our earth, by taking care of nature, making sure to throw out our trash and to, garden and be kind to our earth and do things that are protecting our earth. And just there are so many things along the lines of that, when you're going on nature hikes and nature walks, but also when we're celebrating the earth, we're also celebrating the people that live on this planet. And we want to focus also on how to be kind to others and how to be kind to your siblings, your parents. I think it's a great way to kind of bring it down to their level. Just like you have a birthday and you get presents, we like to give things also for the earth. So therefore, it's a chance to give tzedakah, give charity to those who don't. That's our gift on this holiday. Um, on your birthday, you might blow out candles. On Rosh Hashanah, we light candles. On your birthday, you might blow loud horns. On Rosh Hashanah, we blow a shofar. There are so many connections with your birthday and the birthday of the world that it's another way to kind of bring it home and also connect to nature. Um, and I mean, right now, there's lots of places you can go out and walk. You were talking about Tashlach, and I think that's such a great opportunity for children to think of what they feel like they need to say sorry for. And you would be really surprised the things that some of the little children that I see all the time, what they think they need to say sorry for. They say sorry for pushing their chair in wrong. And we've never noticed it, but they've noticed it and it bothered them. So listening to what they really feel sorry for, and things that they want to change for the year, because you may be completely surprised. I've learned to really listen to my kids and hear what they have to say on a different level, letting them complete their sentence without me rushing in to finish it for them or give them the words. I really allow them now to say the words that they need to say, whether it be with actual words or guiding me to a place that they need to show me what they need or what they want. And we take bread and we throw it in the water, and for kids, just doing that physical action of something helps them kind of put all the pieces together. Taking the bread and throwing it in and saying, oh, I'm sorry that I did this, or I'm sorry I hurt that friend, or maybe I can do something different this year. Taking the physical and the spiritual or the emotional, the deeper level, and putting it all together out in nature. And if you can't get out in nature, I know people who will just do the experience by, test, going to filling their bathtub up with water and letting their kids throw some bread in the bathtub or in their sink, just to have that experience of what Tashlech is like. Do you have any other ideas of activities you can do at home with your family, especially if you're really in a enclosed environment or in places that have now gone back into lockdown, or places that you really can't get out?
What a great question. I think that the the in terms of specific activities on Rosh Hashanah, I know so much of Jewish life is food centered. It's hard, and depending on your level of observance, also determines what kinds of activities you're comfortable with on the holiday. But I'll tell you, we have a variety of sweet things that we like to eat. A lot of kids don't like honey, but chocolate syrup is sweet, jam is sweet, maple syrup is sweet. There's a lot of, maybe you want to have a taste test of all the different kinds of sweet things you can dip your foods into. Challah baking is very hands-on. That would also be before Chag, before Rosh Hashanah starts, by letting the kids choose some things, to make into their own challahs. Kids love when you bring the bread to the table and you say, and guess who made this one? It's so exciting for them. And they all have great ideas. We so think inside the box. We're so used to what we've always done that we it's so refreshing to hear kids' ideas and to see how their minds work, and they're not bogged down by what they think they're supposed to be doing. They're willing to try new things, and that's something that's really great about kids. But I just think that listening to them and having some ideas, some games. I don't have anything specific in mind for Rosh Hashanah. Like you said, there's a lot of books. There's a lot of songs, and I think just and then just having our program, having our structure, and then just giving time for them to be, and they'll come to you. And I think as long as we leave that door open, that we value them and we want them and we're glad to be with them, then whatever we do on Rosh Hashanah, it doesn't all have to be spiritual. It doesn't all have to be religious. It's okay to let the kids have a good time too. And I think the main thing is that we want them to come to us and say, can I play with you? Can you do something with me? Can we go on a walk together? Can we make a salad together? That's something that I think is what we ultimately value the most, is that having that relationship. And I think also that really does reflect on what one of the themes of Rosh Hashanah is a significant theme for Rosh Hashanah is the relationship, our relationship with others, our relationship between ourselves and God, our relationship with ourselves. And I think that really that mirrors so many of the other things that we'll also be thinking about on Rosh Hashanah that are important to us as well.
Beautiful. I love that. And the idea of choosing different kinds of things that are sweet, that's so unique. I never, we'll try that now at home this Rosh Hashanah. I love it. I'm sure my kids are going to love it too. This year I tried something a little different, and I asked my son to make the menu. So we're going to have a very heavily apple themed menu where we're having apple challah, and we're having apple salad. We're also having chicken that's cooked with apple and pomegranate seeds. And for dessert, we're apparently making a jello in the shape of a book, because a book is what you daven from, apparently. And then we're going to top it with some sweet chocolate syrup and a side of gluten-free apple pie. So letting your kids make the menu might be something you find exciting and interesting, and also a challenge. But I figured, it's something new for us. And we've also decided to do an apple contest at home. So we've paired up into teams. So my son and I are on one team, and my daughter and my husband are on another team. And we are going to do, we are not telling the other team what we're making. So I hope my husband doesn't watch this before, we start cooking. But, we've got our secret of what we're making for the meals, or for one meal. And he's got his secret of what he's making for the other meal. And it has to incorporate apples somehow. And the kids are totally involved. I know that my husband and my daughter have already started playing around with some apples, and I've seen them kind of rolling around the kitchen. So I'm letting them do their thing, but it's a way to get the whole family involved, and also kind of really bring joy to the apples and honey in a different light, and sharing recipes. And also, before the holiday, we have a list of people who are going to be WhatsApp videoing or Zooming with, people close that live down the block, and people that are all the way in Israel for the first time. And we're gonna make sure to put that as a whole schedule, because we can't miss anybody. We got to get our virtual greeting cards out there, and that's what my son wanted to do, and I think it's a great idea to to use technology that we have now and make it a little bit more personal. I know we're so used to sending our handwritten Rosh Hashanah cards, but now we get to see each other, and we get to say a Shana Tova, Happy New Year, and all the things we wish that we can do together in the coming months and in the coming year. So, unless you have some more to say, I think that we've kind of covered a lot. And, would you like to say anything else?
I just want to really thank you for this opportunity. This was really fun to hear your ideas, and and to hear from some questions from the community members. And I think this was just a great experience. So, and I'm really flattered that you invited me, and this was a pleasure. So thank you so much, and I wish you a kativa v'chatima tova, a happy, healthy, very healthy New Year, and all the best. Take care.
Thank you, and you too.
Okay.
And I hope that we're going to continue these classes every other week with a new topic each week. I hope everybody can come back and join us, whether it be on Zoom directly or on Facebook. You can always submit your questions in advance, or put them through Facebook on the comments, or in Zoom on the comments. We love to hear from you. Thank you so much. Shana Tova to everybody. Bye.